आलोकित करने। परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने कोई मन चाहा
एनआईओ शिक्षार्थियों से अनुरोध है कि 30 जनवरी 2024 को दोपहर 3 बजे से 4 बजे के दौरान निदेशक विद्यार्थी सहायता सेवाएं सीधे प्रसारण में उपलब्ध रहेंगे। इस कार्यक्रम के दौरान आप सभी एनआईओएस में प्रवेश एवं अध्ययन संबंधित अपने प्रश्नों को हमारे ईमेल एड्रेस nioslivevideo@gmail.com, यूट्यूब चैनल NIOS लाइव वीडियो व टोल फ्री नंबर 1800-180-2543 के माध्यमों द्वारा पूछ सकते हैं।
प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने। हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम अपना जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो। कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो। मित्रों हम उठे और जागे मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने। हम अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम अपना जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
ही क्यों मिलता फिर
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बात कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने
Welcome back, learners. We were reading Tall Trees by Eileen Mathias, and we were reading the very short poem, and we can recapitulate the themes of the poem that have been employed in this poetry through the poet. So the poem can be divided into three sections. The first section is describing a daytime when the trees, the sole activity of the trees were observing the clouds. And in the second stanza, the time that is reflected through the lines, that is a dusk time, when the activities that is performed by the trees are sheltering the birds that are flying, that are returning to their nest, to their home. And in the third stanza, it is showing the night time, and when at this time the tall trees are peeping at a sleeping world under the moonlight. So these are the activities that the trees are performing during the course of this poetry, during the course of the daytime, day to night time, I must precisely say. So nature can be felt and trees can be seen everywhere, and one can see tall trees in forests, in villages and mountain slopes as well. And the poet says that the tall trees have their feet in the ground and their heads in the sky. So the trees are very tall, that can touch the ground and that can almost touch the sky. And they see the clouds passing by, and it shows that the trees are really very tall. And in the evening, the sky darkens and the birds move to their homes in the trees for safety. And during the night and by the light of the moon, the trees stay awake to keep a watch over the world as it sleeps. And the poet compares noble people to tall trees because they have a noble character which distinguished them from other common people. And they are rooted in the soil like trees, and it means that they are humble. And just as trees provide a caring shelter and refuge to some birds and animals, good people also show care and concern for the weak and protect the weaker. And here in this poetry, Eileen Mathias has employed a transition of time, shows a transition of time. And she skillfully portrays the transition from day to night. And the mention of dusk, sending quickly the birds to rest, signifies the passage of time. And the contrast between the birds finding shelter and the tall trees peeping in the night creates a dynamic and intriguing atmosphere. If we discuss the mood of the poem, so the overall mood of the poem is very tranquil and contemplative, and the tone is very gentle and reflecting a sense of appreciation for the natural world. And the use of words like sheltered, safe and sleeping adds to the soothing and calming ambience. And Eileen Mathias has employed a simple and an accessible language. And thus she makes the poem very approachable for a wide range of readers. And the use of rhyme and rhythmic flow enhances the poetic experience without sacrificing the clarity of demonstrating what the main theme of the poem. So, Eileen Mathias has also employed some personification in this poem, and personification is a poetic device which is something applying human qualities and feelings to something that is not at all human in order to create a clear and vivid picture of that object or idea. And thus this literary device expresses the qualities of the personified object as human qualities. And in this poem, the poet has presented the tree with human-like traits, with physical human qualities as well as emotional attributes. For physical qualities, the trees have feet, head and eyes. And for emotional attributes, they have the quality of watching, they have the power to sheltering and peeping through. And through imagery, the poet has portrayed some image like the trees, the caring and protective trees that give shelter to the birds and that observe the sleeping world. And she has also paint an image of trees who is very curious and very observant to the changing sky and the moon. And it has some physical stature that can touch the soil and that can almost touch the sky as well. So through this imagery and through these personifications, all this together made the trees seem like a living being who are part of nature. And of course, the trees are very much part and parcel of the nature and who have a role to play in it. And they also convey a sense of rootedness and reaching towards the heavens. And for the rhyming scheme, this poem has the rhyming words in each second and fourth lines of each stanza. In the first stanza, we have the word sky and by. In the second and fourth line, repeatedly. And in the second stanza, again it is rest and nest. And in the third stanza, it is peeping and sleeping. So these are rhyming words. And if we look back to the whole poem again and again, and the poem is talking about tall trees and which trees are very big, and these trees have their feet or roots deep in the ground and their heads or branches almost touches the sky. And it's like the trees are standing with their roots in the earth and their branches reaching towards the sky. And if the poem says that these tall trees are watching something, and what are they watching? They are watching the clouds move across the sky. And the trees are doing something similar which we usually do. So the poem is creating a picture of these majestic trees who are firmly rooted in the earth and at the same time reaching for the sky, and all while quietly observing the clouds as they drift through the sky. And it's a very peaceful and serene image of the nature. And when the evening or sunset comes quickly or very swiftly, the birds are getting ready to sleep or rest for the night. And where is their nest? The big or tall trees provide them the nest, provide them a safe place for the birds. And safe in a nest, the phrase means that the trees act like a protective homes for these birds, like a nest, and ensure their safety. And so as the evening approaches, the birds find a safe and comfortable place to rest in the tall trees, and the trees act like a protective home for them. And then the night comes, the night approaches, and something happens during this night when it is dark. The tall trees are peeping through the night. It's a poetic way of saying that the trees are visible or can be seen, And the idea is that the trees are standing tall and are noticeable during the night. And the moon shines down. That means that the moon is giving off the light. The moon beam is shining throughout the world. And that world is sleeping. So the moon's light is falling on a world where everyone is asleep. And that is why the world is quiet and resting at night. So this poem is describing a scene at night in the third stanza, where the tall trees are visible and the moon is shining its light and the world is asleep. And it creates a peaceful and very serene picture of the nighttime environment. And so the poet conveys to the readers that the trees are very tall and describes the trees as if they are human beings. They have some human-like qualities. So overall, in the first stanza, by saying that the trees have their feet in the earth and their heads in the sky, the poet conveys to the reader that the trees are very, very tall. And the poet looks at the tall trees and feels that the trees are standing and watching the clouds as they pass. And you must have noticed that the trees have some human-like qualities, particularly in this poem. And in the second stanza, the poet gives an integrated picture of nature. And in the evening, the darkening sky drives the birds to the safety of their homes in the trees. And in this way, the different elements in nature complement each other to provide a comfort and shelter to the birds. Again, in the final stanza, the evening changes into the night, and by the light of the moon, the trees stay awake to keep a watch over the world as it sleeps. And the poet sees the tall trees as our protectors and guardians, and in whose care we can sleep safely and soundly without any worries. So, Tall Trees is a beautifully crafted poem that invites readers to connect with the natural world. And through vivid imagery, symbolism, and a keen observation of nature's nuances, personification, Eileen Mathias creates a poetry, a composition that not only paints a picture of the landscape, but also evokes a sense of wonder and appreciation for the simplicity and beauty of the world around us. And with the due codes, she has also provided some glimpses of the good people around us who are continuously protecting us, continuously have some watchful eyes on us, and that is very silently. We do not know that. So at a glance, the poet Eileen Mathias has presented an integrated picture of the nature and a harmonious world where various elements and objects of nature are in close association and without any disagreement. And thus she paints a pleasant picture of selfless care and protection in this poetry. So that's all about the poem Tall Trees by Eileen Mathias. We will again meet on our next day with a new lesson. Thank you.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों